Hello everyone, this is part 8 of What If Naruto Went into the Naruto World, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Hello. Is anyone there? Hinata cried as she walked around in the darkness. It wasn't like she expected someone to answer. In fact, she would have been scared out of her skin if somebody did. She just didn't like being alone in the dark. Ever since her jerk of a father locked her in the closet, she hated the dark. I thought I was in Naruto's house, but now, Hinata sighed, letting her sentence drift off as she sat down. Surprisingly, the floor wasn't damp as she expected, but kind of warm and comforting. Well, if I'm dreaming, then I might as well just wait it out, Hinata decided before lying on the ground. It was the soft weeping that brought Hinata bolting up. Naruto, I'm so sorry I can't be on the same team anymore, sobbed the voice. Hinata looked around in confusion. Naruto. There was no one around her that could have possibly been crying, but the voice was as clear as day. Well, night in this case. Where are you? I want to help, Hinata shouted, genuinely concerned as she turned around in a complete circle, searching for the owner of the voice. The girl she heard was in obvious pain and Hinata wanted to help. It was just the way she was. Who's there? Asked the girl, sounding startled. Out of the corner of Hinata's eyes she saw a fragile-looking girl sitting not 20 feet away from her with an expression of fear on her face. What are you doing here? The girl asked fearfully, as she backed away. Hinata felt her heartstrings tug when she noticed streaks of tears that were on the girl's face. She's like me. I'm here to help, Hinata said as comfortingly as she held out her hands. There was a few seconds where the girl looked uncertainly at her before breaking down completely and running into Hinata's open arms. Hey, are you my mother? The girl asked as she sunk deeper into Hinata's bosom. No, but I'm here to help you all the same, Hinata said as she hugged the girl tighter. Slowly the girl's heavy breathing subsided till she was fast asleep in Hinata's arms, forgetting everything that happened to her. She has the right idea, Hinata thought as she lied down on the ground with the girl still in her arms, and before she knew it she was asleep as well. Naruto. Naruto. Are you okay? The Kyuubi cried, slashing at the bars to get though. The blonde was lying on the floor for the past few hours without movement, and even the Kyuubi was getting worried. The Kyuubi had expected Naruto to be up and walking in less than a few seconds, but it seemed like that the two Narutos had more differences than the Kyuubi had predicted. Damn it, you better not be playing around with me, the Kyuubi roared, backing away from the bars, prepared to shatter the puny seal that held him back. Okay then, if you're not going to wake up yourself, I'm going to make you, the Kyuubi shouted before ramming into the cage with all its might. The ceiling shook, causing some dust to fall from the ceiling, but the bars still held. All that Kyuubi managed was to cause a massive bruise on its shoulders. The Kyuubi winced as it picked itself up, looking at the cage disdainfully. It appeared that the cage was a lot stronger, it looked, as the Kyuubi learned the hard way. A small chuckling reached the Kyuubi's ears, caused the Kyuubi's ears to swivel towards the, now not so motionless blonde. Hey, how did you know I was screwing around with you? Naruto asked as he pushed himself off the ground. Even this looked like it cost Naruto a great deal of energy, from the way his arms shook with exertion. The Kyuubi sighed, seeing Naruto tired but alive. Damn it, Kit. If you ever do that again, I'll K you, threatened the Kyuubi with saliva spinning down its large canines, looking as if it would make good on its statement. Wipe that drool off your face, Naruto said, smiling slightly, his voice containing its usual loftiness but with some of the sarcastic tone from the older Naruto. You know that you can't K me unless you K yourself, the Kyuubi snorted, not bothering to answer Naruto. I see the merging has gone well, the effects are reversible, so tell me if you two want to split. Why would I want to do that? This feels great, Naruto said suddenly as he felt the strength rush back into his body. I can't believe it. I think I'm smarter and stronger than before. That is to be expected, though you're probably not that much stronger or smarter. The Kyuubi smiled slightly, its guess confirmed when Naruto just stared back, not bothering to make a retort. You should get used to this, so I suggest you wake up and practice with your new body. And before Naruto could object, he was expelled forcefully from his own body and found himself staring up at the ceiling. Barker Fox, Naruto whispered before sitting up. Everything was as I left it, Naruto thought before springing to his feet and cracking his knuckles. So the Barker Fox wants me to practice. Hey, I'll do more than just that. He thought gleefully and was just about to try to jump though the window when he realized something. I still have the weights Lee gave me, he said out loud as he examined the weights. They were cracked with age and the words on them were slightly faded. Naruto shook his head slightly, remembering Lee lost the keys to the weights. Wow, if I jumped out of the windows I would have really hurt myself, Naruto observed as he stood up. He froze again as he spotted himself in the mirror. And embarrassed myself, Naruto groaned as he saw himself clad only in green boxes. I guess this is what the Kyuubi meant by being disoriented, he thought as he approached his dresser. Suddenly Naruto froze in confusion as he realized something. How come I can still move? He asked himself as he tried jumping experimentally. Once again Naruto was confused when he only felt a fraction of the weight affecting him. Instead of 100 pounds he felt like he only had 50 pounds holding him back. It was still a lot, but not enough to immobilize him. That's because of me, Kit. The Kyuubi boomed suddenly, causing Naruto to jump into the air in surprise, and land on his ass. Damn it, don't do that, Barker Fox, Naruto mentally shouted at the Kyuubi still breathing heavily. After a few seconds Naruto felt his heart stop racing 50 miles per hour, and he calmed down enough to ask, and what do you mean it's because of you? Oh, so now you're interested, the Kyuubi said sulkily as it spoke over Naruto's reluctant apologies. Your healing is increased because of me. Because you had your weight suddenly increased 100 kilos, your body was stressed to its limits. I couldn't let you SS, so when you finally fell asleep I healed your body. When Naruto didn't speak, the Kyuubi sighed. In other words, your body is now healed and accustomed to at least 30 to 50 extra kilos because of me, the Kyuubi explained smugly, thinking that Naruto hadn't understood. I know that, Naruto snapped as a reply. I was thinking, if I increased the weights each day by 50 pounds and you kept healing my body, wouldn't that make me invincible? Naruto smiled mischievously at the thought, overthrowing Old Man Hokage at the age of 12. The old man wouldn't know what hit him, he thought gleefully. The Kyuubi was silent as if it was debating something. I'm impressed, Naruto, you're already thinking ahead, but unfortunately you have not thought everything though. Did you take into account the mental strain that would cause? Naruto frowned slightly as he thought about this. I guess I would go crazy if I had to deal with 50 more pounds every single day. How about your body's ability to handle that much stress? While I can heal your body, your cells at an accelerated rate, you grow older, and you will less sooner. They are also undergoing a molecular change each time I heal you. Thankfully, the real-world Naruto paid attention to biology, so he wasn't completely in the dark. You're messing around with my atoms. What the hell? Naruto screeched at the demon. Not really, the Kyuubi said slowly, not actually understanding Naruto said but unwilling to appear clueless. It's just whenever I heal you, you and I become more alike. You mean I'm going to turn into you? Naruto cried, unnerved at the very thought of becoming the Kyuubi. You wish, the Kyuubi retorted haughtily, the best you'll probably get is a tail or two. But I don't want a tail, Naruto whined. Then that's why you can't become invincible in a few days, the Kyuubi said with an air in finality. That'll take at least a few years with your puny body. And don't get me started on your mental capacity. We didn't even start our real lessons yet. Naruto groaned as he reached his dresser and started to search for his cloth. Even though he was stronger and smarter, he still had a lot to learn, as the Kyuubi kindly reminded. Lee was on his 300th push-up when she attacked. 4 kunai flew out of the bushes straight for Lee's head. Fortunately, after years of honing his skill to her attacks, he easily pushed himself right over the kunai and up to his feet. Tenten, I know it's you. Your youthful but loud movement gives you away, Lee called out. Tenten sighed before she walked out reluctantly from the bushes. I thought Naruto would at least remember his promise, but I can't find him anywhere, Tenten said, shaking her head. He needs to work on his taijutsu or else he won't survive. I mean, seeing how he was last time, the weights might help, but without any technique. Tenten, what are you talking about? Naruto's taijutsu is fine, though mine is clearly superior. I must train Naruto in the way of youth. What? Tenten asked dumbly, as Lee spontaneously ran into the bushes. There was a few seconds of silence before a loud scream of dynamic entry. And a startled shriek. LD the calm. Oh great, Tenten thought in exasperation before she ran after Lee. Tenten. I think my dynamic entry has knocked Naruto-kun out, Lee said worriedly as he pranced about on one leg anxiously. Guy-sensei. What would he think? Tenten just shook her head annoyed. I would be ashamed of you, shouted a voice from the trees. A second later a green blur sped out of the trees screaming, Lee. Then man's fists then collided into Lee's cheeks sending him sprawling backwards. As this happened, Naruto opened his eyes the exact same time Lee flew across his vision. Flying green spandex boys. What the heck? Have I gone crazy? Naruto wondered as he rubbed his head. He flinched as he felt a large bump grow from where Lee slammed his heel into his head. Don't move, Kit. I'll heal that, growled the QB before a sudden warmth engulfed the injured area. A few seconds later the bump was gone and Naruto was ready for anything to come at him. Well, almost anything. Lee, Guy cried, his eyes burning with passion. Guy-sensei, Lee returned, his eyes burning with equal if not greater passion. Lee, Guy cried even more urgently as he opened his arms. Guy-sensei. Now Lee's eyes were brimming with tears. There was a moment of silence, before Lee ran into Guy's arms crying. Naruto's eyes twitched rapidly at the open show of love, more than a little disturbed. Damn, not in all my times in high school or the ninja academy, even the QB, who had seen thousands of men being crushed beneath its paws, frowned a little. You better get used to it if you're going to train with us, Tenten muttered, obviously used to this already though she still looked a bit annoyed. Neji's probably the only other person besides me that is rational on this team. Neji? Naruto asked, but his question was answered almost immediately. A pale-looking girl with long lustrous black hair walked into the clearing. Naruto gasped when he noticed the girl's eyes. They were pure white with large lavender pupils in the middle. Is she related to Hinata? She's a lot uglier than Hinata though. I guess good looks don't run in the family, were Naruto's first thoughts as he saw the girl. Could you two stop that? The girl asked coldly. Apparently this interruption didn't dampen Guy or Lee's spirit. Neji, I suggest you join us once in a while, Guy said as he let Lee out of his embrace. You must feel the springtime of youth as it flow through your veins. Naruto looked on with silence. The same question was still running through his mind and he only knew one way to answer it. Hey, Neji, he cried out, ignoring Neji's cold expression. Apparently, even after merging, Naruto was still as bright as a brick. I suppose not even 100 Narutos could change that, the QB thought, sighing. What? He snapped contemptuously as he gazed over at Naruto. Are you Hinata's sister? Naruto asked. A second later he was aware of the looks of shock and disbelief of Tenten, Guy, and Lee's faces, and only then did he notice the vein twitching on Neji's forehead. I am not a girl. Neji replied coldly, his teeth gritted with anger. He liked his hair long, and this was the first time someone mistook him for a girl. Oh, Naruto said sheepishly as he rubbed his head, finally understanding the expressions on everyone's faces, and why Neji didn't have any feminine features. Well, sorry but you look like one, he muttered before bursting out, but are you related to Hinata? Again Naruto was confused when the same expression stayed on the group's faces. As much as I detest being related to that loser, yes I am. Neji spat scornfully. It took a while for Naruto to digest what Neji had said, but when he did an explosion of rage took place within Naruto's mind, multiplied by the fact that he was now composed to two consciousnesses. Not only that, but the QB became enraged as well. That pompous, self-satisfied, arrogant, little bastard. I'll tear him to shreds. The QB roared, sending out its chakra in waves. How about just asshole? Naruto asked as he cracked his knuckles. I'll gladly do the second part for you though. Now Neji, do not talk about Hinata that way, Guy was lecturing before Naruto's fist slammed into Neji's face, cutting the lecture short and sending Neji flying into a tree. Why you? Why you? After this Naruto let out a string of curses. All of them I cannot type in this story or else I would have to raise the rating from T to M. Needless to say when Naruto was finished everyone was looking at Naruto, more or less impressed with his expansive vocabulary. Are you finished? Neji asked coldly as he stood up and wiped a trickle of blood from his mouth. From the way you're acting, I'd say you're friends with Hinata-sama. That must make you a loser as well. Neji said loftily. Why you? Naruto's pupils narrowed into SS, causing Neji's back to weigh. There was a strange aura coming from Naruto and Neji couldn't help but notice Naruto's cerulean eyes turning into a blood-red crimson. Naruto. Neji. Today is not the day to fight. Guy commanded as he appeared in front of Naruto just as he was about to launch himself at Neji. We must embrace the springtime of youth and train. Not spread this precious morning arguing. Neji. I expected better. Guy scolded. Yes, Guy-sensei, Neji said immediately, but his eyes said otherwise. They were still fixated on Naruto's crimson ones, calculating his chances of winning if he ever got in a fight with him. Sorry, but I'll have to decline your offer to train. Naruto said as politely as he could before smiling apologetically at Tenten and Lee. Sorry guys, maybe some other time. I need to get used to this first. And without explaining what he meant, Naruto ran into the trees. That was weird, even for Naruto. What happened today wasn't normal. Tenten said to Lee. You got that right, Lee said, surprising Tenten with his sincerity since he was never that straightforward. What? Lee asked, seeing Tenten's expression. Who are you? Hiroko asked, as she slowly approached the small fragile girl standing in the middle of the damp dismal room. The girl wore nothing but a wild robe and her skin was almost albino from the lack of sunshine. She had her head hung down so her pure white hair was covering most of her face. If Hiroko had to judge, she'd say that the girl was no more than 16 years old. Are you all right? Hiroko asked tentatively. There was no answer from the girl. Are you awake? Suddenly Hiroko sprang back as the girl's eyes came to life and looked up to face Hiroko. My name is Jean. You shall take my place in the world, she said emotionlessly. Hiroko backed away fearfully at the blank look on Jean's face. It was like the one she often saw in Naruto's or her own face in the mirror, the one that spoke of neglect and sorrow. The death god, it has warned me of your coming, please, I cannot hold out much longer. She pleaded before breaking down into a whisper and kneeling down onto the floor as if she was praying. It was then Hiroko decided to help, but when she was just about to touch Jean's shoulder, the pale girl suddenly burst into thousands of beams of light that engulfed Hiroko, melding with her outline. A few seconds later Hiroko collapsed on the floor unconscious. In the shadows the death god watched the progression with interest. So Hiroko, how will you get out of this situation you got yourself in? The death god wondered before dissolving into the air. As Hiroko regained consciousness she took a giant whiff of air. I can smell again. Thank, Hiroko nearly gagged at the overwhelming smell of sewage and decay. To think she was just about to thank the death god for this. Where am I? Hiroko asked herself as she glanced around. This proved to be a futile effort since the room was pitch dark. Where? Hiroko said as she felt her way through the room. Her hands paused as she felt something interesting. It's round. No wait, there are 2 holes and, what are these tiny round rocks doing on the bottom of this? Hiroko didn't have time to ponder this because suddenly a door opened with a squelching sound. Hiroko dropped whatever she was holding in surprise, and the thing clunked away from her. She was temporarily blinded by the light as she sat there dumbly, squinting at the person who opened the door. Food. Eat up, the man said gruffly. Hiroko could hear some locks turning and something being slid towards her. Slowly Hiroko's eyes adjusted and she could just make out bars in front of her, and other unpleasant things she didn't notice without the light. Wait! Hiroko cried out as the man was about to exit the door. The man suddenly froze, his head turning stiffly towards her as if he couldn't believe his ears. Where am I? Hiroko asked pleadingly. The man's mouth opened wide with surprise and his eyes widened even more. Suddenly he took in a deep breath and dashed outside screaming, Jean. She spoke. Tell. The man was suddenly silenced and another voice cut through his blabbering. Sheesh. Dumbass. Don't go bothering the boss right now. His indisposed bastard. A girl spat as she wrenched open the metal door. Hiroko was prepared this time and looked away so she wasn't blinded again. There was a few seconds of silence before, what the hell are you talking about? She's not saying anything. You bastard. You're wasting my time. Hiroko looked out of the corner of her eyes just in time to see a girl with bright red hair marching out of the room, her nose held up haughtily. What's wrong with her? Hiroko thought, shaking her head. She stopped in mid-shake as she noticed the many bones scattered throughout the small cell she was in. Now she understood where the smell came from. It came from the decaying boss of the prisoners kept here from times past. I was holding a skull in my hand. Hiroko thought, getting sick in the stomach. Suddenly she whipped her head to one side and threw up. Nothing came out though. There was nothing in her stomach to begin with. She just kept on gagging and nothing was coming out. The man watched silently as Jean retched. Emotions, or experiment is not supposed to show emotions. Slowly he turned away from the sight and shut the door, leaving her in the dark once again. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.